Royal Highness, my brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I would like to start by thanking the organizers for not only inviting me, but also making me the first speaker. This makes my work a little bit simple, in the sense that I'll take the very simple aspects of the challenges, and my sister, Dr. Hadiza, and my senior brother, Dr. Usman, will take, I'm sure, the more difficult aspects. I have prepared a small presentation consisting of about 10 slides. Let us go to the next slide. The next slide just talks about, or rather shows the large numbers of Almajiranci that we need to be thinking of. As of 2010, when some efforts were made to get a census of Almajiranci, there were close to 7 million Almajiranci, as we can see from this slide. As at that time, which was 2010, we only had about 11 million school children spread across the 13 or so northwest and northeastern states. So you see, whenever we talk about, for example, sending all...
Dr. Bashir.
Yes, sir.
We cannot hear you. Can you speak louder, or can you speak louder, please? Or is it your microphone that is the problem?
Okay, sir. I'm speaking louder now. Next slide, please. For the southwest and southeast and north central and south-south, there are smaller numbers of Almajiranci. So as the chairman said, you see, we're talking of 10 million or more Almajiranci. It's not a small problem at all, having to deal with 11 million or so Almajiranci. Next slide. The major problems, I have tried to summarize them here, and I have singled out 2 of them as what I consider to be the most serious problems: the welfare of the Almajiranci and teachers, and there are no sources of funding. There are no sources of funding. Am I not being heard? Chairman, am I not being heard?
We can hear you now.
Okay. So these are the main problems of the system. Next slide. And there are absolutely no sources of funding for these schools. Next slide. This was what our recent survey showed. So my recommendations are that parents must be sensitized and forced to take responsibility of catering for their children. One way to do that is to make as many of as possible day schools, so that at least parents take care of the feeding. We have to develop crowdfunding methods to mobilize adequate resources. And my main suggestion here is that we have to develop the Waqf institution. Because, brothers and sisters, if we are looking at 10 million, and let us say that each of these 10 million children requires 20 to 50,000 naira, very conservative estimate. Then we're saying we require 200 billion naira to 500 billion naira in order to manage these schools effectively. This requires a very strong Waqf institution, which has been there since the beginning of Islam, but which unfortunately we are not utilizing now. Next slide. The other problems, to my mind, are easier to address, especially because there is more interest by the proprietors and teachers of Quranic schools to widen their curriculum. Right now, very few Quranic schools offer Islamic studies and conventional subjects. Next slide. But now, most of them are interested, as we can see from the results of this recent survey. Most Quranic schools are interested in widening their curriculum. Next slide. And therefore, I think what we need to do is to transform our entire educational system. Next slide. So that we, as much as possible, transform as many of our Sangaya schools into Sangaya integrated primary and secondary schools. This would have Islamic studies, conventional studies, in addition to the main Quranic curriculum. In fact, all our children need integrated education, and they should have integrated education in the various types of schools. Maybe we should have only 5 to 10% of our schools to be specialized Sangaya institutions which focus almost entirely on Quranic studies with a little sprinkling of conventional studies. The important thing is that our educational policy needs to be revised such that irrespective of which type of school a child attends, he or she has the opportunity to attain higher education in any field he or she desires. Next slide. In conclusion, next slide, our Sangaya system of education is currently, previous slide, is currently in a pathetic system facing the next slide, the concluding slide. Our Sangaya system is in a very pathetic situation, facing many serious challenges. There is the need to reform this system. Other countries, incidentally, have been able to reform their traditional Islamic systems of education. They also had traditional Islamic systems of education. Many of these countries, Turkey, Indonesia, Bangladesh, Sudan, Egypt, Gambia, have been able to transform their system, to properly fund it, to change the curricula. Why can't we do the same? Thank you very much.